The Sims, a beloved game franchise, also known as take out your teenage angst on virtual people by locking them in their own bathroom, or watch a surreal Yuri on Ice AU play out amid tons of funny glitches. The most recent installment of this life simulation series, The Sims 4, was created by Maxis and Electronic Arts and released in 2014. The art style looks a lot different from the previous Sims games. There's more artistic freedom and body shape freedom. Your Sims look more realistic and have less lumpy looking faces. You can give your Sims much more detailed faces, even in the vanilla game without expansions. More on the DLC later. And oh boy, do I have a lot to say about the DLC. But anyway, I'd like to introduce you to the sim I'll be using to show off the Create a Sim Wizard. You can pick different names for your Sims, but I decided to name her Miss Random Lady. As you can see, you can give her different body types and even drag the various sections of your Sims' bodies around to make some parts of their bodies bigger than others. You can also pick different facial features and makeup. There are tons of outfits to choose from in all different categories, but as you can see here, I just got lazy and gave her a pretty dress while letting the game pick whatever it wanted for the other categories. I sincerely hope it won't be too ugly. You can pick the houses you'd like for your Sims. I have to admit, I like to use the free real estate because the houses your Sims can usually afford when starting off are honestly butt ugly, and you can customize the way they look, inside and out. You can change wallpaper, buy them new furniture, or build a fancy pool that she can't afford without cheats. You can also build new houses from scratch. I love doing this, but that takes way too long to show off. Suffice it to say, building houses as you'd like them to look is really satisfying, or frustrating depending on how long you've been trying to build houses in The Sims. Anyway, I picked this preset house even though I don't like it. From this point forward, you're free to control your Sim as much or as little as you like. You can care for them and make sure they have a happy life, or torture them, whichever is your style. I'm going to introduce you to two households today. There's my favorite, the Yuri on Ice ones. But don't tell my other Sims I admitted to picking favorites. I care for these Sims as well as I can and make sure they're happy. And then there's this household, the Random Lady, who I'm going to use to show you how you can completely wreck your Sim's life and make them miserable because I'm kind of evil sometimes. As you can see from these Sims, you can have a lot of Sims in a household. Too bad it tends to get overwhelming, particularly when you have a kid and a pet in the same household, since both are pretty high maintenance when all you want to do is make Victor and Yuri go on a peaceful date. Is that too much to ask of you people? Good God! You'd think that Yurio, Onabek, and Minami would be much better baby and pet sisters, but they're awful! I'm about to make Yuri and Victor just take their daughter with them. Anyway, you can make your Sims socialize with each other. They can be friendly, argue, or smooch. It's sometimes fun to make a lot of drama between your Sims. If you want, they can even go outside and yell at K-pop stars. Wow, that's actually very in character for him. Depending on their previous relationship, sometimes they'll autonomously talk, unless you have autonomy turned off. I like to leave it on because sometimes you get precious moments, such as Kid Minami playing with a shampoo bottle, Fidget talking to a chair, and Yuri stomping in the trash. Sometimes though, it's easy to get frustrated and just use cheats because your Sims, even though they try so hard, aren't being good dads. But honestly, being merciful and making your Sims advance their careers and lovingly raise their daughters gets boring. That's why we're going over to Random Lady. As this is a life simulation game, your Sim's needs can deplete. If your Sim gets hungry enough, they'll starve to death. There are many ways your Sims can die. For example, if they're awful at cooking, they might set their house on fire, and if the fire is too big, your Sim is too dumb to get out of the way, or you're really evil, they can die in the fire. Old age is another way that a Sim can die, but I have aging off so that my Yuri on Ice Sims won't randomly turn into grumpy old guys. I just showed you the fire way. It looks like Switzerland doesn't have any desire to help. R.I.P. my demonstration Sim, aka Random Lady. Thank you for sacrificing yourself for the sake of game design. All of these mechanics I mentioned make the game seem pretty well-rounded, but the truth is, the base game is pretty devoid of exciting stuff. It gets boring really quick. That's why EA keeps on releasing expensive expansion packs. Seriously, this one costs almost as much as the game itself. I like this game, but jeez, it can be a huge ripoff sometimes. I have to admit, I did buy quite a bit of DLC, but then I realized I spent way more on the game than I should have, so now I have to turn to mods for variety. And then they started selling DLC for the DLC. That is not okay. As for the art and sound of the game, it's pretty decent. You can customize your Sims' voices to some extent, which is pretty cool. However, the music and sound effects can get really repetitive. That's why I usually end up listening to other music while I'm playing the game. The Sims 4 has lots of glitches in it, such as defying physics by walking through solid objects or assuming painful looking positions. But in my opinion, these glitches actually sometimes make the game funnier rather than taking away from it. As I said before, caring for your Sims can get tedious, leaving you to just lock them in the park bathroom and watch them slowly become more miserable and die, or repeatedly give them makeovers for variety's sake. It's sometimes hard to get invested in everything, but sometimes it's a lot of fun. This game isn't exactly one I play every single day anymore, as much as one I sometimes pick up. So the replayability, it varies. Overall, this game gets a 6.5 out of 10. It's fun usually, especially when you're making stupid glitches happen or being evil to your Sims, but it gets stale really quick. And when it does, you're expected to spend hundreds of dollars to make it fun again. I'm not rich, okay? Probably because of this game. That's not to say it's not good, it just also had a lot of bad parts.